Racism, fear, division. These are powerful weapons, and they can destroy this nation if we don't deal with them head on. So I want to ask every single American, no matter what party you normally vote for, to please take a moment to pause. Click off the news. Think about how you felt over these last 4 years, how quickly things have turned. And then think about what the next 4 years could mean for our country's future. The message we will send to our children about who we are and what we truly value. Think about what would possibly compel you to accept this level of chaos, violence, and confusion under this president and be willing to watch our country continue to spiral out of control. Because we can no longer pretend that we don't know exactly who and what this president stands for. Search your hearts and your conscience, and then vote for Joe Biden like your lives depend on it. Look, you all know that politics has never been my thing. But to all the young people out there, to all the Black and brown folks, to anyone who feels frustrated and alienated by this whole system, I get it, I really do. But in the face of all of the frustration and alienation I've experienced throughout my life, never once have I considered not voting as a viable option. Not once have I thought about foregoing a right and privilege that so many before me fought and died for. Not once have I let someone else's ignorance and hatred keep me from doing my duty as a citizen. Because I know we don't have the luxury to assume that things are going to turn out okay. We cannot afford to withhold our votes or waste them on a protest candidate. One of these two men will be president, and only if we vote for Joe Biden with power and with passion will our voices even have a chance at being heard. Because folks who are perfectly content with the status quo, who are quite happy with what's been going on these past 4 years, trust me, whether they say it out loud or not, they will vote too. So we can expect that this election will be won by the slimmest of margins, just like 4 years ago. A handful of votes per precinct in Pennsylvania or Arizona or Wisconsin or Florida or anywhere else will make all the difference. So we have got to make our plan to vote this instant. We've got to vote early so we have the peace of mind to know that our vote for Joe Biden is in the bank. We've got to go to iwillvote.com right now to request our absentee ballots and send them back immediately, or take them to a drop box or an election office. If we choose not to vote by mail, we've got to find out where and when we can vote early in person and show up the minute they open their doors. We've got to set aside time to vote on Election Day so that we don't get too busy. And we've got to reach out to others, starting in our own backyard. As I like to say, we got to tend our own gardens. That means reaching out to all those folks who we might not be able to count on voting. You know who they are, the folks who might not be as tuned in as we are. Make sure they request their ballots too. Make sure they know where their polling location is. Take them with you to vote if you need to. And make sure you text BELIEVE to 30330 to get involved today. Work like this may not feel as impactful as attending a protest, but trust me, it is absolutely the most important thing that we can do right now to save our democracy. It's simply what needs to be done. And that's what we've been doing for months, just getting the job done. No matter the stress, no matter if something feels out of our control, because that's who we are as Americans. That is what we do.
And that is former First Lady Michelle Obama. She launched a series of, you know, just statements that many feel like needed to be said in regard to Trump today, describing his policies as racist, accusing him of endangering American lives with his behavior during the pandemic. You know, as she mentions, she don't usually like to get too deep into politics, as I guess as deep as one can get as a former first lady. But nonetheless, it seems making a very intentional effort to make sure that those voters or potential voters who are still out there and still yet to be reached, and maybe that is you, that hopefully, you know, her call, her voice, her message might make the difference. And whether or not you choose to show up at the polls, you choose to request that ballot, to cast that ballot, whatever it may be, depending on what your situation looks like. Please do not forget, we are less than 1 month away from the general elections here in the U.S. Yes, that includes the presidential elections, but there's so much more at stake. And if you have already received your mail-in ballot, you see that. You see who's on the ballot. You see what seats are on the ballot. And I imagine many of us are like, who are some of these folks? And just know this is a really great time, if you're not familiar with who folks are, to do that research. But nonetheless, let's make sure that these ballots make it to where they need to go so that they are cast properly. Okay? If you don't know, you are tuned in to Happy Hour on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM. I am your host, sincerely, Sarita. Today is October 6, 2020. It's a Tuesday, y'all. We are going up. There's a lot happening in the world today. There's a lot on the rundown for the show today. So shout out to all the folks who are joining us for Happy Hour from wherever you may be. All of you who are tuned in on 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming WURD TV on WURDradio.com, Facebook Live, Twitch, or YouTube. And of course, everyone who's listening in crystal clear on the free WURD app, which is available in the Apple app and Google Play stores. So make sure you go ahead and download that, because again, it's free. So just stop playing, y'all. Let's just get this done. Let's download this app. I have it on my phone, and I promise you, it is absolutely like, it's clutch in many instances when it comes to trying to tune in and see what our folks have to say. If you're tuned in over on WURD TV via Facebook Live, let me back up a little bit, because I can see myself in the camera. I feel like I'm too close. I'm all up in y'all grill. But
we want to see your nose hairs.
I just trimmed. Just do me a solid. Press the share button, start a watch party. You already know the deal when it comes to Happy Hour on WURD. The more the merrier. I do hope you have your cocktail, your mocktail, your water ready. I don't know how you don't keep them on deck anyway in this year 2020. It's just too much. It's too much that's happening on any given day. But that is no excuse or reason for us to not stay tapped in. Okay, we just can't. We can't afford to not stay tapped in. So, like I said, it's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's a couple of things for our Happy Hour experience. Number one, Thankful Tuesday. I do want to know who or what you are thankful for today, because I don't care what's happening in the world, how complicated things get, how just WTF. How many of those moments you may have, it doesn't change the fact that there is still something or someone that you can be grateful or thankful for. So call in now. Let us know who or what you are thankful for today on this here Thankful Tuesday. 215-634-8065. That is the hotline number. Again, 215-634-8065. You can also call in toll free. 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. If you're tuned in over on WURD TV, just drop your response in the comments. You know we got you. It's also Talent Tuesday. We have a lot of... I don't even want to say a lot, because it's not. This is a day where it's truly quality over quantity, and you just need to be ready for all of that. Okay. I got to get ready to take a break. But really quickly, 4:30, we got our community care segment. We're going to get into this voting because there's a party at the mailbox and you need to be there. At 4:45, we have DJ Geek, who is bringing us this week's Geek and Mix at 5 p.m. Shout out to James Lamb of 5:30. 5:30, y'all. I'm getting it together. 5:30, James Lamb of JD Lamb Ministries. He's going to be joining us to discuss his new music and why his focus is on no titles, no agenda, just worship. And then at 6 p.m., here's a question to consider. Is the United States of our struggle with racism truly a white supremacy issue, or is it a class issue? Which one came first, right? Sarah Lomax Reese, CEO of WURD, she's going to join us for Black Words Book Club conversation about the highly acclaimed book Cast: The Origins of Our Discontents. It's written by Isabel Wilkerson, who many of you may be familiar with. Isabel also wrote The Warmth of Other Suns. And we have some special guests that are going to be joining us for a discussion that connects global systems of hierarchy and oppression to experiences that are largely lived by Americans of African descent, aka us. Okay, so we got some really great conversations in store for you. Make sure you stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, in between time, taking this quick break, phone lines are open. Let us know who or what you are thankful for today. Again, I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. This is Happy Hour on WURD Radio, and we'll be back after these messages.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
It's a bit busy already on the Philly roads. This report is sponsored by Geico. Starting on 95 as you head northbound, jam traffic from Allegheny up to Bridge Street. Southbound 95, that jams Cottman Avenue to Bridge Street through the construction. One lane is blocked. Further south, jamming Ridley Park into the Commodore Barry Bridge. Vine Expressway westbound, that stop and go the Ben Franklin Parkway into the Schuylkill Expressway. Eastbound on the Vine, slowing from the Schuylkill back out to Broad. Schuylkill eastbound, that jams 476 into Belmont. After that, a tap of the brakes approaching the Vine Expressway. Westbound on the Schuylkill, heavy between University and 30th Street through the construction. Left lane is blocked. Then you're jammed the Boulevard to Belmont, and heavy again 476 out to Gulf Mills. Stop and go traffic on the Boulevard northbound, Wissahickon Avenue into Broad Street. On the bridges, Ben Franklin Bridge westbound, a little heavy. The toll plaza to the downside. Right lane blocked by construction. Left lanes are getting by. Through South Jersey, heavy 55 northbound Deptford into 42. 42 southbound slows from the Walt Whitman Bridge into 295. And 295 southbound's heavy from 30 to 42.
Want to know what's really scary? Seeing just how much you could have been saving on car insurance by switching to Geico. It's almost as scary as watching your dog growl at the wall and realize he sees something you don't. Get a quote at geico.com.
For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. I'm Brendan Joseph with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Through farmlands, cities, trails, and beaches, the Delaware River watershed provides drinking water to more than 13 million people. Imagine where we would be if we didn't protect all of our waterways, the streams, the creeks, and the rivers that run through our region. We would be without abundant wildlife, without vital ecosystems, without nature to escape to learn from. Visit watershedalliance.org to learn about river days and find yourself in nature.
This is Pastor Alan Waller, and I want to remind you of the immortal words of Pastor Leon Sullivan, not burn, baby, burn, but build, baby, build. Since 1968, the Sullivan Progress Plaza has been the place of entrepreneurship in the Black community. We are still building, baby, build. And we want to invite you to come along with us if you seek to invest in our community and make a difference in the new world that we're going to create. For more information, call 215-232-7070. I want to invite you to be a part of the new future of Philadelphia.
No fear, just facts. This is WURD, independent Black media.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
diversity,
Inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our Compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
teamwork makes the dream work.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Hold your head as high as you can, high enough to see who you are, little man. Life sometimes is cold and cruel, maybe no one else will tell you, so remember that you are black gold, black gold. You are black gold. Now maybe no one else has ever told you so, but you're golden, baby, you're black gold with the diamond soul. Think of all the strength you have in you, from the blood you carry within you. Ancient men, powerful men, builders of civilization. There'll be folks hell-bent on putting you down. Don't get burned, don't get burned. No, not necessarily. Everyone will know your worth. No, no, no. Oh, your worth. Think of all the strength you have in you, from the blood you carry within you. Ancient men, powerful men, builders of civilization. Think of the strength you have, think of the strength you have within you. Powerful, proud, and powerful men, builders of civilization. Hold your head as high as you can, high as you are. For life sometimes is cold and cruel, baby, no one else will tell you, so remember that you are black gold, black gold. You are black gold. Think of all the strength you have in you, from the blood you carry within you. Ancient men, powerful men, builders of civilization. All the strength you have.
You're back listening to Happy Hour on WURD Radio 96.1 FM 900 AM. I'm your host, sincerely, Sarita. It's Talent Tuesday, but it's also Thankful Tuesday. So call in, let me know who or what you are thankful for today. The phone lines are open. The hotline number is 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. You can also call in toll free, 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. Shout out to our social media fam. You all know they are always down to join us, join the on-air conversation, I should say, from online. Rajan said, life and blessings, small or big. That's what he is thankful for today. Life and blessings, small or big. I know that's right. Kirsten said, my powers of discernment. Listen, please do not estimate the power of discernment. Child, I'm still sharpening that tool, but let me do say, it's there though. Please don't sleep on it. It's absolutely there. And if you are not familiar with discernment, what it is, why it's important, I definitely want to direct you to Google first and foremost, because I want you to be self-sufficient, right? But also, it's just the ability to judge well. It's the ability to read people, to read energy. It's more kind of on a spiritual side of things, of being able to be like when you say, bless you, girl. Not that though, not bless you, girl. I was Kayla G. But when you like maybe meet someone, or, you know, you're around someone for quite a bit of time and it just don't feel right. You know, you're like, something about the vibe. That's kind of what it comes down to. Something about the vibe doesn't feel right. That's usually a sign that your discernment, your spirit of discernment is kicking in. Some may call it your gut, right? Your gut instinct. It's talking to you. It's like, I don't know. It don't feel right. Don't do it, or whatever. That is the spirit of discernment. Please do not quiet that thing. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to it, y'all. It's so important. And then we also, shout out to Connie. She said health, love, motherhood, and purpose. Health, love, motherhood, and purpose. Those are just a few of the things that she is thankful for today on this here Thankful Tuesday. So I appreciate them for chiming in. You too can do the same. Phone lines are open. If you're tuned in to our live stream via WURD TV, aka Facebook Live in particular, please feel free to drop your comments, your response, I should say, in the comment section, right? Okay, now, 4:30 p.m., you know, we try to make sure it's known. Community cares. That's what we all about. And so I get to have this pleasure of welcoming a woman on who is doing her part to really make sure that it's a party at the mailbox when it comes to voting. So Nakadira Robinson is the founder and CEO of Black Girls Vote. She joins us to discuss Party at the Mailbox Philadelphia. And I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that. But just, you know, so you know very briefly, it's really designed to deliver everything you need to get ready to vote in the 2020 general election, that you receive that in one box. Okay, so that's just the overview. That's the quick wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. What is this about? But now we get to welcome her. So thank you so much for joining us. Number one, let me know if I pronounced your first name correctly. Yeah. No,
I was gonna say it's so funny. I haven't heard Nakadira before. I've heard a lot of things, but
I was the one.
It's actually Nike Drop, but everyone calls me Nike. Yeah, everyone calls me Nike. I say like the goddess. Yeah, just call me Nike.
All right. So Nakidra, aka Nike. So we have permission to also be able to call you Nike.
Absolutely.
Because we folks now, because we are happy hour.
We're family now. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
So let's do it, Nike. We doing that. Let folks know a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Sarita, for having me on. I've heard so many great things about you, and I heard this is the show to be on in Philadelphia. Again, my name is Nakidra Robinson, and I'm the founder of an organization called Black Girls Vote. And like many organizations in the beginning of the year, we're Baltimore-based, actually. In the beginning of the year, when COVID hit, we had to adjust our plans and figure out how were we going to engage and educate voters. So we came up with this campaign called Party at the Mailbox. So we kicked it off in Baltimore for our pilot, and we sent these customized boxes to individuals, Baltimore residents, with voter information, voter education, but more importantly, it was a fun box. We had balloons, we had, a party horn. We also had Baltimore-themed snacks. We had Utz crab chips because I'm from Baltimore. We had burger cookies. We had a custom T-shirt that said Baltimore Vote. So we wanted to create a sense of community around voting. So we did, and it was such a big hit, and it was so great that Jasmine from She Can Win, y'all know Jasmine. Yeah, that's my girl. She said, Nike, you have to bring Party at the Mailbox to Philadelphia.
That in Philly.
Election. Yeah, she didn't say it was an option. She said, you have to bring it to Philly. And I said, all right, Jazz, let me figure out some things. So now we are bringing Party at the Mailbox to Philadelphia.
That is awesome. All right, so the fat kid in me, and I have a hashtag Fat Kids Unite. Okay. So that's totally just a self-identified term for me. I just need to know, what kind of snacks we talking about? Did y'all get that situated yet?
So listen. Wait, so I'm not on video, am I? My Skype. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Can you see me? You can see me? Oh, I can't see it. Okay. So let me tell you. So we're doing it in Baltimore, Philly, and Detroit.
Okay.
So I have here, so for one thing, this is the Philly box. It's going to be in red, which is really, really cute.
Okay.
Red or white. And then I have Detroit with me. So I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that's in the Detroit box to give you an idea what's going to be in the Philly box, to give you an idea. So in Detroit, they have something that's like that. You're going to have like your chips in there. So you're going to get a snack in Philadelphia. These are better made chips. So of course, you guys are going to get a Philadelphia snack. What are you guys known for? Perhaps Tasty Cake, maybe. I don't know. You got to get a box. You know, we have here, Faygo Pop is popular in Detroit, but...
And in Pittsburgh. I'm from Pittsburgh. So shout out, Faygo Pops in Pittsburgh, too. And we call it pop, not soda.
Yeah, not soda. I call it. We have party horns. We have balloons. We have posters, all these signs that say Philly Votes. The shirts are really, really cute. We had a student from Temple University design the shirt for us. So it's all Philly themed. We're working with printers in Philly. We're going to be stuffing the boxes, some of them at the Masjid. We're also going to do another place, the Philadelphia Masjid. So there are a lot of things that are happening, so many great moving parts. But we want this campaign to feel like Philadelphia. You know, we want you guys to request your boxes right now. Our goal, we have 5,000 boxes. So I was told that, you know, we come on here, we're going to get rid of our boxes fast, right? We just opened our registration, so you can request your boxes, and they'll be going out in the next few weeks. So please share. You can visit www.partyatthemailbox.com, and the boxes will be personally delivered to you, not through the United States Postal Service or FedEx or UPS. Someone's going to deliver you your Party at the Mailbox box.
All right, so they wear masks and stuff, right? We got you.
We
say
okay. We're still practicing social distancing.
Cool.
We're still going to be clean. Absolutely.
And
I'm still real.
It is absolutely. Listen, the Rona is still real in these streets, and I love the fact that you all are really making it a point to put that personal touch on it. And this is no shade to USPS. That there's clearly quite a bit going on over there, and they're trying to figure that out. And salute to all of our, USPS workers who y'all been coming through. Don't get me wrong. Like UPS, FedEx, everyone who's been getting it done. We really do appreciate you. But I know it has been. It's been a lot. And so to know that, you all are being very mindful about, okay, how can we show up? How can we close that gap and make sure our community are getting these boxes, the Party at the Mailbox. And it literally seems like it's a party in a box.
It really is. And then we're going to do a virtual party the night before the election. I'm asking people just to tune in, on She Can Win's Facebook page. We'll be streaming live. And to your point, it is a party, but it's a Philadelphia party. So the folks who will be delivering the boxes, they're going to be folks in the community that folks know. So they'll show up with their shirts on to deliver you your custom box. And so we're really, really excited. Again, Jasmine from She Can Win was like, you don't have a choice. I said, all right, Jasmine, well, you got to help me get rid of these 5,000 boxes. And she said, no problem. So right now we are opening up registration. So again, visit partyatthemailbox.com. And then click on the Philadelphia box, and you will get your box and share it with your friends. The sooner we get the registrants in, the sooner we can get them out. So we're super excited about, just spreading the love. And it's education in the box, right? Voter education. Things you should know about this election. You have your I voted sticker if you choose to vote by mail. Has a button. We have a poster that has important dates, important resources, and things that you need for this election. Just want to give you as much information as we can.
That's exactly where I was going with, because I wanted to make sure we cleared up any kind of confusion that may come from it. Like, this isn't your mail-in ballot or absentee ballot that's coming in this box. Like, you still need to do that separately. You need to make sure you get that in if that is the route you are going. This is more so to get you in the spirit of voting, to educate you on the voting process and what all is happening. This is not like your ballot is coming in this party in the mailbox. Like,
absolutely.
Okay.
We're not sending voter registration forms. We're not registering you to vote. In fact, you still have to take those steps, as you said, Sarita. So absolutely. But we want to make sure you have a question about dates. You need information about, where do I go for this? So just education and information that we can help you to assist you in voting. But we want to make sure you have all the education, everything you need for election 2020, because this is a big election, and we know Philadelphia is a big city, and want to make sure people have what they need.
Yeah. All right. So we got to get ready to let you go. But Nike, I'm really just curious to know, why did you start this? Well, why was this important to you?
Black Girls Vote or Party at the Mailbox? So I'll just say Party at the Mailbox, just because we started, because people were trying to figure out ways to engage voters during this election. Some of us are passionate about voting, passionate about making sure particularly me, Black people are engaged in the process because there's so much power that comes with voting. So we wanted to make sure we got information out there, and we had to pivot because of COVID, meaning we couldn't be out in the streets doing voter registration. We couldn't do any of that, but we're excited that not only are we doing it, but we are giving sub-grants to some of our folks in the community in Philadelphia, like Antoine, one of the folks who apply, Unity in the Community, who's big there. So those folks, we said, hey, we're going to give out sub-grants to folks in the community who are doing the work, who are out there in ways that we can assist them. So we close our sub-grants on Friday. We'll be making announcements this Friday. So we want to partner with you guys to educate voters because we know how critical this election is and every election.
Awesome. And shout out to Anton, definitely a friend to WRD, to Happy Hour, and just in general, like, salute to his work. But Nikidra, like, I said it right that time?
You did.
Okay.
You kind of paused at Nikidra.
Wait, like, let me get it, because listen, I'm gonna keep practicing until I get it right,
cool.
whether we talking or not. But I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna keep it simple, y'all, because y'all know I will go all day trying to make sure I say somebody's name right. But Nike Robinson, founder and CEO of Black Girls Vote, who has joined us to discuss Party at the Mailbox Philadelphia, which is delivering everything you need to get ready to vote in the 2020 general election. It's all in one box. To go ahead and reserve your box, you can head to partyatthemailbox.com. Partyatthemailbox.com. Everything is spelled exactly how it's supposed to be spelled, y'all. That's it. Head
and
there.
It's free.
And it's free.
It's free. People are like, how much is the box? I'm like, no, you don't have to pay for the box because it's a nice. It's a really cute, nice box. I promise you'll like the box. And just share and tell your friends and family to do it, to request the boxes again. Our goal is to get the boxes out to the folks in the community.
Got you. And are you all on social media? If so, where should we be following you at?
Yes. So again, we just opened up registration. So we're going to be posting on Party at the Mailbox on our Instagram, but our Instagram is Black Girls Vote, at Black Girls Vote, and we'll be sharing information about Party at the Mailbox as well.
Okay. All right. So there we have it, loves. Thank you so much for joining us for Happy Hour on WURD. Let's get these 5,000 boxes moving, Philly.
This is light work.
This is absolutely.
That's what Jasmine from She Can Win said. Philly has 1.5 million people. 5,000 boxes. That's
should
light work.
Be nothing.
I said, let's go.
Okay. Well, I'm going on. I'm registering for my box. Let's get this done.
Yes.
I'm sending it out to my folks. I'm going to make sure I share out on social, my text messages, all of that good stuff, because this 5,000 should be an easy lift for us, Philly. And it's not.
Sign up to be a community partner. I apologize to interrupt you, Sarita. So on our website, it says be a community partner, meaning that, some of our community partners will get you the VIP box out, right? But then also, share it with your community. And so we're looking for community partners. We'll put your logo on the website. Again, we want this to be more about the community and making sure people are getting the information that they need. And again, there's no cost. We'll just be giving out information for you to promote Party at the Mailbox. We are looking for you guys in Philly, the community. In Baltimore, we had over 50 partners. In Philly, I said, we can do 100. That's light work. So I'm so excited. Thank you, Hania, and everyone else who's been part of this. We're just excited. We're ready to go. We're on the ground, Philly. What's good? Oh, and I got to say the word John. Let's go, right?
Now we got to work on that. We just join. You got to put it. You got to put a little bit more. You got to put a little more something on it. A little more sauce. But right? We going to get this together. All right, John.
Each one, sis.
Right.
As sisters, we uplift each other, so we got to teach each other.
That's
you
right.
teach me that, and you get my name together.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, y'all.
Let's go.
We are taking this quick break. Stay tuned. Up next is this week's Geek Mix, of course, brought to you by the one and only DJ Geek. That's Geek with 3s, not E's. Make sure you check out over on Instagram. I'm your host, sincerely, Sarita. It's Talent Tuesday. It's Thankful Tuesday. We'll be back after these messages.
The time is now to put an end to the chronic incompetence of Donald Trump and his League of Liars. Donald Trump makes a mockery of the institution of the presidency. He's polarized our country, and his dangerous policies must not continue. Joe Biden has the character, empathy, and experience to lead us through these challenging times. He helped lead the nation out of the 2008 financial crisis into the longest period of economic growth in our history, and he can do it again. As president, he will heal divisions and unite us around the shared values of justice. He'll create opportunities for quality education and good-paying jobs, and he'll build on the Affordable Care Act, not tear it down. While Donald Trump thinks coronavirus and climate change are a hoax, Joe Biden already has a coronavirus recovery plan and a strategy to create more jobs while also tackling the climate crisis. Vote for a president who will stand on the right side of history. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by Black PAC and Priorities USA Action. BlackPAC.com and PrioritiesUSAAction.org, which are responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Support independent black media and join the 4WURD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. More than 2/3 of all poll workers are 61 years of age or older. That's created a serious poll worker shortage as older poll workers are understandably nervous about health risks during pandemic. If you or someone you know under the age of 40 is looking for part-time work and is interested in contributing to their community, sign up to be a poll worker today. In Pennsylvania, go to votespa.com, click on Be a Poll Worker, and complete an application. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, facebook.com/4WURD, and hashtag Word on Politics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com. WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at 4WURD. WURD TV. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Kiss the back of my neck bone. Make it hot like Louisiana. Shoot, that's so good.
Sweet like sweet potato pie, like collard greens and yams on the side. I'm full from top to the bottom, and this ain't no lie. I'm hot like Mississippi, burning in the middle of July. And I'm saying, whoa, 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 so full of love, whoa. You got me saying, whoa, whoa. Chicken fried in a pan of lard. I'm getting spoiled like the beans, and I can't lose my head. 'Cause when you're not around, I'm crumbling like cornbread. Now, whoa, 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 so full of love. You got me saying, whoa, 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 whoa.
You are now rocking with DJ E.
I'm trying, when tonight I have cried. Now comes those warm summer nights, I'm alive. Feeling myself inside your vibe. No longer alone, baby, come join this ride. Cruising down Cali Drive. We're so alive, babe. Said I'm talking about the summer. Oh, I'm so alive, babe. Come grab my hand, sugar tight as you can. Run through the rainstorm, sugar melts fast. You are my partner, baby, lover, my friend. I'll be your man, and you might be the same. Such a vibe, baby. When it's you and I, babe. Say we talking about the summer. I'm so alive. Last night was wild, yeah, I have to admit. Left my car down, felt kinda sick. Let's take some time and we'll do it again. Summer night, summer vibes, oh baby, when we so alive, babe. Say we talking about the summer. We're so
Baby, I have some cliche things to say, but please pay attention, 'cause it's not in an ordinary way. I've made you cry so many times over the years when I said I'd be that guy to take away all of your fears. Now today I'm explaining all the lies that I told you. I just pray you believe in your heart that what I'm saying is true. I've seen this whole world, many women I've ran into, but when I look into their eyes, all I see are the visions of you, baby. Yeah, oh, don't you know I'm so into you, even when I'm messing up, baby. Yeah, still in love with you. I know I might sound insane, baby. It's you I just can't lose. Just give me one last chance, baby. 'Cause it's only you, girl.
You say you're sorry for doing me that way, but it's okay, babe. I understand. Willing to stay. Don't think I'm crazy, accused you of some things. It's just me getting accustomed to this newness from you. Get the feeling you're serious, really wanna try, but you gotta treat me right. Okay, no more lies. Okay, I'll be your lover. Okay, no more goodbye. Okay, but you gotta be real with me. If this future that you see is only for two, better be me and you. I'm so into you, and I know
it'll blow your mind, yeah, 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 yeah. How many moons we watch rise, rise, rise. Sunsets and flower blowing by, and now I'm calling you mine. Hey, spring came, summer went, fall down when it hit me, yeah. We made it through the seasons. Ooh, we made it through the seasons. Spring fun, summer breeze. You let me kiss you in the autumn leaves, yeah. We made it through the seasons. Ooh, we made it through the seasons. Made it through, you hated me. Halloween and Christmas trees. All that drama with your mama. Now you're kissing me on New Year's Eve. Went through so many problems. We used to avoid them and drown on me. More than a joint in a condom. Now we got you, now you got them. Yeah, you always got my attention. I know I may not always get it right, but you and I can weather together forever. I won't leave you, never, no, 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 no. Spring came, summer went, fall down when it hit me, yeah. We made it through the seasons. Ooh, we made it through the seasons. Spring fun, summer breeze. You let me kiss you in the autumn leaves, yeah. We made it through the seasons. Ooh, we made it through the seasons.
You say it first, 'cause I don't wanna leave my heart out on the line. I know you feel it, 'cause I feel it too. But I know everything's gonna change as soon as I say the words I love you. As much as I would like to fight it, every time we kiss goodnight, I get butterflies inside. It's like my heart would always drop. Oh baby, please don't ever stop. These butterflies inside. My friends are tired of hearing how good the loving is. I'm feeling crazy and nervous, I don't know what it is. I'm showing PDA all day and I don't care what they say. My MCM is WCW. All the girls taking pictures of you don't bother me. No, 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 'cause I'm confident that I'm your girl. Oh, because every little thing you do just makes me fall in love with you. I know you feel it, 'cause I feel it too. I just hope it doesn't change as soon as we say the words I love you. As much as I would, I like to fight it. Time we kiss goodnight, I love you. I get butterflies all day. It's like my heart would always drop. Oh baby, please don't ever stop. These butterflies inside. As much as I would like to fight, I can't fight it. Time we kiss goodnight, I get butterflies inside. You give me butterflies, my heart inside.
Start every Sunday the right way with Sunday Morning Praise, hosted by the Reverend Louise Williams Bishop, every Sunday morning beginning at 6 a.m. right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
2020 is the year of voter options. We have many different ways to exercise one of the most important activities in our lifetime. Some of us might be voting by mail, but the rest of us can still vote safely while masked up and social distancing in person at your local polling locations. If you're in Philadelphia, learn more about where your polling location might be at either votespa.com or philadelphiavotes.com. For more information on how to vote in Pennsylvania, visit states.aarp.org/Pennsylvania. Vote early.
COVID-19 impacted a lot of things this year, including regular vaccination appointments. Vaccines help protect you and everyone around you, especially during flu season. Schedule an appointment with your healthcare provider today to make sure you and your children are vaccinated. Vaccines keep us safe, and they work. Skip the flu this year. Get your vaccination today. Let's stay protected together. For more information, visit health.pa.gov, paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
It's Health and Wellness Week with Tiffany Bacon, now through Thursday on WURD Radio. Tonight, join Tiffany for a conversation on cancer as she explores breast and colon cancer and how they affect the Black community. Health and Wellness Week. This Monday through Thursday from 7 till 9 p.m. Hosted by Tiffany Bacon. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, and watch live on WURD TV via Facebook. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
And you're back listening to Happy Hour on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Shout out to DJ Geek bringing us this week's Geek and Mix. Just a little taste of it. You can head to Mixcloud.com to check out her full range of mixes. You get a little bit of everything over there. You can also follow her on social media, more specifically on Instagram at DJ Geek. That's Geek with 3s, not E's. Usually, at the top of the show on Tuesday, you know, I give a little something that didn't settle in my spirit for the creatives, for the doers, for the dreamers out there. You know, I jumped right into it today, and I just realized that I didn't do that. So I want to make sure I do share that. It is brief. And honestly, it came to me while I was on my way to the station, catching up, getting present with myself in the midst of everything. And it's really just, you know, I often speak about, and this is likely tied to me being the tourist that I am, of just knowing your boundaries. But this is what I'll add to it, right? Like, know your boundaries, but don't be afraid to test your limits. Those are two very different things. Know your boundaries, but don't fear testing your limits. Don't make your boundaries, and to say that a different way, like, don't make your boundaries an excuse for you staying in your comfortability zone, like in your comfort zone. Like, no, that's not the same thing. Boundaries are designed to make sure folks respect and stay, aligned with your safe space, which is absolutely, absolutely necessary. But testing your boundaries and, testing your limits, right, and going outside your comfort zone, that is designed to evolve you. So to flip that, one thing will evolve someone else. The other thing can evolve you in a totally different way. So just keep that in mind. It's like, by all means, know your boundaries, but test your limits. Push outside of your comfort zone, because it's just, we can't afford to not do that right now as creatives. We can't afford to not explore and become our highest and best selves as creatives right now. We just can't, especially for those of us who are Black creatives, right? Black, Latinx, or Black and brown creatives. Like, we really just can't afford to not show up in that way, whether it's for our folks, whether it's for the world, humanity, so on and so forth. We just can't afford it. So I want you to keep that in mind. And to also just, and I said this a little earlier today when after my workout, because I'm still doing what I be doing, how I be doing it, as much as I can. And shout out to my trainer, shout out to Tommy Knight. of Knight's Fitness. But in my Insta stories today, just even in passing, I didn't mean to be intentional in what I was saying. I just was expressing what I was feeling, and that is to stay focused on the mission and committed to the vision. And I'm going to say that again, stay focused on the mission and committed to the vision. When you don't feel like it, when you don't see progress, at least the progress that you're looking for, just remember to stay focused on the mission and committed to the vision, okay? Don't underestimate the power of that, because at the end of the day, it comes down to discipline. It comes down to doing it when you don't feel like doing it, to doing it when you don't feel like anybody's watching, when it's just you. And maybe it's just you rumbling your demons or whatever else the case may be. That's when it really matters. That's when the fight is really the most intense. And that's when the reward is that much sweeter, right? So just a reminder, again, to the creatives, the doers, and the dreamers out there. I wanted to make sure I shared that. Now, with that said, I believe, Kayla J, you ready? I'm ready. She ready. Okay, so y'all know we usually do Pop Goes the Culture, give you a little bit of, you know, the latest news, what's on our radar, the headlines, so on and so forth on this here Talent Tuesday. So we try to focus on the arts, the entertainment, all of that. A couple of things. While I was out today, I'm going to start here. While I was out today, I copped a couple different books, and also saw one that was out there, and I'm still thinking about whether or not I'm going to get it or not. But the first was The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And, you know, this is Oprah's book club, I believe last year, 2019. I'm really looking forward to reading this. But I am a fan, and I just got to be real. I'm a fan of the artist. So if you see the cover of this book, there is an artist. Her name is Kalita Rawls. She is amazing. And for, I'm sure, great reasons, her artwork is just not available for purchase like that. And I can't wait for the day where I could maybe commission her to do some stuff. But she's amazing. And she did the artwork for The Water Dancer. Kalita Garcia Rawls. That's who did it. And I love her water paintings. I love water in general. I'm a mermaid. And so I just really connect with her artwork. And if nothing else, I'm going to be real, I just wanted to purchase the book to make sure that she was supported as a visual artist, but also because I've heard great things about the book, and I'm looking forward to experiencing that. And yes, I purchased hard copies. While I love audiobooks, I really do love holding a book in my hand and being able to flip the pages. I also got Cast, the origins of our discontents, which we're also going to be discussing at 6 p.m. As part of our book club, right? So make sure you are staying tuned for that. Our Black Words book club conversation. Sarah Lomax Reed, CEO of WURD, will be joining us along with some very special guests that they're really going to help add context to our conversation and our understanding of what Isabel Wilkerson was looking to lay out in this book. So those were two books that I picked up, but I also saw the Mariah Carey joint. And mind now, okay, listen. I was born in '88. That Mariah Carey was like my childhood. Okay, straight up. Okay, Butterfly, 1997. Okay, listen, I love. I got real love for Mariah Carey. Now, you also got to keep it 100. You got to know when you've evolved into the next stage. And Kayla J is clearly coming with that energy right now, and I'm going to leave that where it's at. But she has this new memoir that is coming out, or is out, I should say. And I like, it's called The Meaning of Mariah Carey. I'm curious.
She gonna talk about how much she took Nick Cannon for it, and he's still rich.
No, she talks about her life because there's more to Mariah than that. There's more to a woman than a man.
Oh,
okay?
for sure. Yes, I'm being shady. Yes.
So this is part of what makes me want to get it, is to better understand the title. The title isn't doing it for me. I'm gonna just be honest. It's not. It feels Mariah-ish. It does. Stop it, Kayla. Stop it. Nonetheless, she has a new memoir out. If you are a fan, check it out. She is to not be disputed, though, y'all. Let's just be clear, okay?
That
Sis,
Christmas album pop.
what? Yeah, you don't get that kind of play, that kind of money the way that she has without being doing what you do, how you do it. Now, does that mean you want to go and buy a book? I'm not sure that I'm there. I am curious, though. I am curious. So that's just one thing that's on my radar, because I did see it when I was out shopping, the meaning of Mariah Carey. I'm going to see where I land with it. I'm going to see. If you got a copy, send them out. Like, let's link up.
You can rent it on Apple Books.
Oh, can you?
Samples, yeah, bro.
Okay. All right. Because one thing, listen, I support my folks now. Don't get... Especially my Philly folks. I support my folks. Black owned, my Philly folks, I support them. I'm curious. We'll see. Kelly J, what's on your radar? I'm going to leave that there. What's on your radar?
Well, y'all know I like to go down the YouTube rabbit hole often. And I found myself being an avid watcher of Two Funny Mamas, the video podcast with Sherry Shepherd and Kim Whitley. And watching Two Funny Mamas live last week, rarely catch that live, but watching it, I found out about something that everyone should have on their radar, because it's super great, and I really hope that this particular person gets all the credit that she needs and all the funds that she needs. Macy Gray.
Child, I was on her Instagram.
Macy Gray, honey.
Not with Macy Gray.
Macy Gray has started a new nonprofit fund for the victims of police brutality. And no one knows about it. So after all the victims that she heard, she sends money and funds to the families. And now that it's becoming so many more, she is not able to just fund it completely out of her pocket anymore. So she started a new nonprofit called My Good, where she helps out the victim's family. And for Halloween, she's having a bingo party. Tickets are $25, and all the proceeds go to, the victims' families of police brutalities and shootings. This all happened because one of her family members was shot, and they just was like, "Oh, how you doing? How you doing?" And that's it. And having to hear it over and over and over on the news, she said that's not giving them chances to heal. We're out here, we're protesting for them, and that's great, but some of the families just kind of don't want to hear it every day. So she created this, right? Yeah. So she created this for those families, where they can get out and get some help. Rather it's the mental help that they need from seeing their kids shot and killed on tape, or rather it's just to get some groceries to stay in the house.
Gotcha.
So I just really thought this was a really cool nonprofit for her to start up. Her first big event is a Halloween bingo night, and she's saying she called it a Halloween bingo night because it's on October 24th. Yeah, it's a bingo bash. You get to win real prizes, but it's on Zoom too, by the way. It's on Zoom, and whoever wears the best costume on Zoom gets like this private Zoom call with Macy Gray.
First of all, can I say I can't even. This kind of makes me definitely want to participate in this, because.
And she having a happy hour before, a virtual happy hour. And if you sign up, so the bingo tickets are $25.
Is she drinking?
Yeah.
Oh snap! This is about to be anything.
If you sign up for the pre-party, they should call it the pre-party or whatever. It's all the same day. You'll be in this private Zoom room with her and some other celebrities. They'll send a drink coupon to you, so you can buy drinks on them. And just
who? From where?
I forgot who she said it was by the pre-party. But it's something good. I know that. I remember that.
Because I'm like, how you going to get that?
No, it's a coupon. Email it.
That you can go and then,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
you get it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you got to get your ticket ahead of time.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. All right, Macy, great.
I thought that was great. She's reaching out to the victims' families, and you don't hear of people doing that. You always, hear people talk about the victim, and the only time we mention their families is, oh, we need justice for their family, and we have them at press conferences, but what are we doing to help them? And she was like, we need to help them. So I thought that was really great.
No, that's dope. That's dope. If you've never caught Macy Gray's dance, her dance videos or her dance lessons that she does on Instagram, I just need you to check them out. She has a public account, so even if you're not on Instagram, if you go to Instagram.com/Macy Gray, you can go to her account and you'll see like her dance lesson videos. Just go in with an open mind. Like there's one that she did for voting, and it's like, okay, y'all, this is the voting dance. And it's literally like how you stand in line and there may be someone in front of you and you're waiting to vote, and she turns it into her version of dance. It's Macy Gray's world, so it's going to be abstract, but really like simple and basic, but still just like, Macy, what just happened?
Listen.
So I love that she can be in that space, but then not, like also, I think folks feel like it has to be one or the other. That you have to be in that space and be this very creative, abstract person, and you have no sense of community or no sense of just like being in touch with what's happening in the world. And she is able to kind of do both. And so I appreciate that about her. And I think this is a prime example of how she straddles those two things, because I believe both of those posts were back to back. When she was talking about that dance lesson and then dropped this whole bingo bash that's going down.
Just in the few interviews I've seen of Macy Gray, because I love Macy Gray. Just in a few interviews I've seen of her, even when she was on Two Funny Mamas, how she would go from to being very serious to very Macy. Just very Macy.
Yeah,
like she even told Sherry Shepherd off, and it was hilarious. Because Sherry called herself, like, honoring her and, like, doing her voice, like, as she introduced.
Oh, no.
Like, doing
Macy will gather you. Yo, don't play with her.
And Sherry Shepherd asked her, so when did you when did they stop teasing you about your voice? And she was like, you just teased me about my voice.
Don't they? She's like, sis, I didn't miss the shade. Don't do that.
Listen. And Sherry was so convinced, like, no, I wasn't.
Because who said my voice was funny?
Right.
That's the question. Unless you're going to reference an interview where I said that before. When did I ever say my voice was a joke, sis? When? It's real.
I was dying.
Think about the questions y'all ask. Listen, it's real.
As a deep voice person, I so
Same
appreciated it.
Because it get deep real quick.
Because it get deep, bro.
Octaves.
Listen, listen. No, but I definitely, when I don't want to be bothered, yo, people like, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong number.
Oh, as a kid, I pranked on folks' phones all the time. Yeah,
I still do it.
That means you gotta have fun somewhere.
When they say spam caller, sometimes I
switch it up. Never mind.
Sometimes I go into the accents. I'll be like, hello, how you doing?
No, see, something told me to stop that right there. Anyhow, we're about to take a quick break, but definitely let us know, if you have any pop, any, just, the headlines when it comes to Talent Tuesday that are on your radar. Feel free to call in and let us know. There's a lot happening around the voting season. Right. I know Billy Porter and Stephen Stills, they're doubling down on their efforts to tell their fans to get out and vote. And I follow Billy Porter on Instagram. And, honey, he shows up. He's not playing about how important it is to vote. But today they released a new version of Buffalo Springfield's For What It's Worth to help raise money for increasing election participation. It's a remix of Porter's cover of the song that he released in April. It features Stills as the guitarist, and all proceeds from the new remix are going to be donated to former First Lady Michelle Obama's nonprofit organization, When We All Vote. Y'all know that was launched in 2018. There were a bunch of stars that were involved in that. But yeah, we have a lot of celebrities, a lot of artists that are not playing about this voting election, about this season. And so, like, even down to Megan Thee Stallion. She was on her SNL performance. She used that to send a message to Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron, and just demanding protection for Black women. And so salute to her, salute to the artists who are using their voice. You do not have to shut up. You do not have to be quiet. You have every right to speak up, just as so many others do. And I just personally feel like if we can have the folks that's in power right now leading this country, and it's evident that there is such a major disconnect. It's evident that there is definitely reason beyond belief to question, just this, not even the level of experience or capability, but just like whatever reality is they're living in. I don't think anyone has any place at this point to looking at artists who has reach, who has impact, and tell them to not use their platform for good and to raise awareness about the importance of voting. Like, we talk about how we can't afford to not have folks show up. Well, guess what? That means we need everyone with a voice, with a platform, to do their part in helping make folks show up. So if you've been one of one of the people who are like, oh my gosh, why are they doing this? Why are they, trying to reach their folks in this way or using their platform in this way? It's real simple, because they could reach folks you can't. Stay in your place. Okay? So with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we'll be welcoming our next guest for Talent Tuesday. I have to say salute to him. His focus is on no titles, no agenda, just worship. We all could use a little bit of that, okay? We need to woo side. We need to get in touch with our higher power and just tap in. Okay, tap out of this madness and tap into that which is higher and can take us further. So stay tuned. You're listening to Happy Hour on WURD Radio. We'll be back on the other side with James Lamb of JD Lamb Ministries. I'm your host, sincerely, Sarita. WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Talent Tuesday. We'll be back.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Plenty of delays on the Philly roads. This report is sponsored by Geico. Starting on the Schuylkill Expressway eastbound, it's heavy from Conshohocken into Belmont. After that, you are crawling 30th Street to Passyunk Avenue. Left lane blocked by a crash. Just the right lane is squeezing by at the moment. Westbound Schuylkill Expressway, you'll see slow traffic from University to 30th Street through the construction. Left lane is blocked. Heavy again City Avenue into Belmont. Vine Expressway eastbound slows the Schuylkill out to Broad. Westbound jamming from Broad back to the Schuylkill. 95 northbound, that is stop and go. Gerard Avenue to Bridge Street. Southbound 95, that jams between Cottman and Bridge through the construction. One lane is blocked. And on the Boulevard northbound jam traffic, Schuylkill Expressway to Broad Street. In East Norriton, Germantown Pike at Foundry Road, a crash there. Traffic's being directed around the scene. Bridges over the Delaware River look good. In South Jersey, stop and go 55 northbound, Deptford to 42. 42 southbound, it's heavy from the Walt Whitman Bridge into 295. And 295 as you head northbound, jamming from Mount Royal to Mantua through construction. Two lanes are getting through. Southbound 295, it's heavy approaching 42.
It's October, and what does that mean? Well, it's Geico-ween, of course. Don't be spooked by high rates on car insurance. Geico is brewing up spellbinding savings that they're crafting just for you. See how much you could save. Get a quote today at geico.com.
For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Brendan Joseph with your Philadelphia area traffic.
The time is now to put an end to the chronic incompetence of Donald Trump and his League of Liars. Donald Trump makes a mockery of the institution of the presidency. He's polarized our country, and his dangerous policies must not continue. Joe Biden has the character, empathy, and experience to lead us through these challenging times. He helped lead the nation out of the 2008 financial crisis into the longest period of economic growth in our history, and he can do it again. As president, he will heal divisions and unite us around the shared values of justice. He'll create opportunities for quality education and good-paying jobs, and he'll build on the Affordable Care Act, not tear it down. While Donald Trump thinks coronavirus and climate change are a hoax, Joe Biden already has a coronavirus recovery plan and a strategy to create more jobs while also tackling the climate crisis. Vote for a president who will stand on the right side of history. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by Black PAC and Priorities USA Action. BlackPAC.com and PrioritiesUSAAction.org, which are responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM. WURD. The EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit. Indigenous Peoples Day. Monday, October 12th from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. In recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day, EcoWord and WURD Radio will host an Environmental Justice Summit to explore topics at the intersection of Black and Indigenous rights, income, and the environment. This day-long multimedia, virtual, and on-air event will bring together artists, thought leaders, and environmental justice advocates for groundbreaking conversations about climate change, land reclamation, water quality, and how it all converges in the Philadelphia region and beyond. It's the EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit. Indigenous Peoples Day. Monday, October 12th from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook. Presented in partnership with Bartram's Garden and From the Source Reporting Collaborative. The EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit is sponsored by PICO and the Alliance for Watershed Education and supported by the Lenfest Institute and the William Penn Foundation.
The North Star Convention is a statewide event where concerned citizens, lawmakers, union, and community leaders are collectively working together to create an agenda that will address systemic issues in the Black community throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Saturday, October 10th will feature keynote speaker Dr. Cornel West. Go to northstarconvention.com to register for the free convention.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media. Grab your mic. It's time for Kayla J's Karaoke Song of the Day.
Choose to go, it won't take me far. I'm living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, living my life.
No matter how dark it is, it's still going, y'all. Don't you forget it. Don't you act no different now. You better act like you know. Your life is still going. You're back listening to Happy Hour on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Just a really quick reminder, because I know especially once the 6 p.m. hour hits, we're going to get into some deep conversation. And I want you to make sure you have just a few reminders on your radar, on your calendar, pertaining to upcoming debates, right? So there are at least 3 more debates. It's trying. Because it's messy in these streets, y'all. And I just really hope y'all take all of this as prime examples of why just voting is so important right now, just in general, but especially right now. But there are at least 3 more debates that are upcoming, likely going to be 90 minutes in length. Again, I don't even want to get into that specifics. Just let me get to the dates and keep an eye on the headlines. Keep an eye on the day-to-day developments, because literally life changes day to day. So tomorrow, right, October 7th, the vice presidential debate at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, Utah, is set to go down. October 15th, the second presidential debate at Adrian Arsht Center for the Performing Arts in Miami, Florida is scheduled, although that's, again, pay attention to the headlines, because some things may be changing with that, maybe intentionally. Depends on who you ask. October 22nd, the third presidential debate is scheduled for Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. So at least just keep the dates in mind. If you feel like your mental health wellness can handle all of that. If you don't feel like that is the case, that is absolutely fine. Not that you need anybody to tell you that, right? Just know that whether you tune into the debate or not, any of these debates or not, what is important, and what just I, as your fellow folks, would really love and appreciate and just want us to show up for is having a voting plan, and making sure that, whether it's us being at the polls physically, or mailing in our ballots, or absentee ballots, that we get that done. Like, just don't think because we're not watching that we ain't watching. Okay, that we're not watching, that we're not acting. Okay, because we ready to go, have a plan in place, no matter which way any of all this plays out, definitely when it comes to the voting. So just wanted to put a few things on your radar with that. But with that said, I think we're ready to welcome our next guest. And I think a lot of folks out there might have been doing a lot more worshiping, a lot more prayer, a lot more of all of that in the midst of these times we're living in. And so we get to welcome James Lamb of J.D. Lamb Ministries, joining us to discuss his new music and why his focus is on no titles, no agenda, just worship. So, James, thank you so much for joining us for Happy Hour. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Listen, I'm thankful. It's Thankful Tuesday here at Happy Hour. And so I have to ask you, like, who or what are you thankful for today?
Oh, Lord.
Right,
do we
breathe.
have all the time?
That's a good thing, though.
I am, first and foremost, I am absolutely just thankful for life, period. With these times we're living in, and, people, so many people, I have lost so many people close to me this year. So I'm grateful for life. I lost my father this year due to COVID-19, and it kind of knocked the wind out of me. But I'm grateful for life, and I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for, my children and my wife. Just that they really kept me together the last few months. So I'm just to wrap it all up, I'm grateful for life.
No, and I think it's even a testimony. And I'm gonna just personally say, you know, when you're going through some things and you're growing through some things, it's, at least for me, the intention is not always to do it with a testimony. It's like, no, I'm really living and aiming to get through this, to get on the other side of this, and like, praise God if it comes out as a testimony. But like, right now, I'm just trying to get through.
Day by day.
Right, day by day, like, or hour by hour, minute by minute, depends on when you catch me at. So I just want to say thank you for, you know, even in the midst of the journey that you're on, and of course, sending love, light, and prayers to you and your family in the wake of your father's transition. But just recognizing, right, that thankful that in this moment, you know, you made that decision and had a capacity to be able to join us for happy hour and to have this discussion, which feels like now even more timely and more aligned than even I realized coming into this. So why don't you tell folks, now that we just even know a little bit more about where you're at this particular point in your life, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Okay. I hate talking about myself, but praise the Lord, we can do it anyhow. Well, again, my name is James Lamb. I am a minister of the gospel. I am a praise and worship leader. I've been doing that. I've been singing like hard for singing since I was about like 14 years old. I started singing with this community choir, and it kind of just woke a passion in me for music. And I always give them credit. It was Joshua Generation under the leadership of Elder Harris Mitchell, and it just kind of woke it up in me, and I just began to fall in love with music and really to learn, you know, develop and learn what my purpose was, and the assignments in, you know, in the areas of music ministry. So I've been doing that a long time. About 4 years ago, I launched two nonprofit organizations. One is to help those who are less fortunate. It's called Messiah's Help, and the other one is my ministry nonprofit, JD Lamb Ministries. Full, like I said, nonprofits, tax-exempt organizations, and I'm able to help people and, you know, donations, all those kinds of things every year I do, just to kind of give back, because the Lord has given me, you know, the ability to do so. And I do that. I have also been in church my entire life. I mean, literally, just growing up in church. So I've served every area of the church. I've served in the ushers and the music and the deacons and all that. And now I have the honor and privilege to serve as executive pastor at the Life Empowerment Worship Center Church under the leadership of Pastor Byron L. Preston. So I just believe that everything in life, nothing happens by accident. So I look back at my life and the things that I've done and the things I've had to do, and, you know, the areas I've served in, and it all makes sense now in the season that I'm in, all the things that I had to do before. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm kind of plain and simple. Some call me a comedian. I love the Lord. I can worship all day, but I love to laugh. And I always say, I'm no respecter person. I will laugh at my mother. I will laugh at my pastor. I will laugh at my children. My wife calls me a big kid because if she yells at the kids, I'm going to laugh at them. So, you know, laughter, it does good like a medicine. So that is James Lamb in a nutshell.
Got you. Well, I'll tell you what, we I'll get to keep going. Thank you, Kayla J, for that note. Anywho, I know there's this saying, this tag that I've seen: no title, no agendas, just worship. You know, when I'm thinking about that in relation to where we're at right now, just humanity, right? Regardless of whatever religious walk you may be on or not. Does that resonate with you? I don't know when you first came up with that, and feel free to, you know, by all means, put some more context around it. But especially now, like that whole no title, no agendas, just worship. Does that mean anything? Maybe a little more, a little deeper now than it did.
So it makes more sense now. Okay, when God deals with me in a very he deals with me in practical ways, I'll say, okay? He does not always deal with me like when I hear other preachers in the Greek and the Hebrew. While I understand it, I've been to school, all that. That's not the way the Lord deals with me. Maybe it's because I was a little slow growing up, so he got to deal with me on the little elementary level. Praise God. But when he gave me no titles, no agendas, just worship, there's two things that he gave. First of all, when he gave it to me, I was like, this makes no sense. And really, the way he gave it to me was not initially no titles, no agendas, just worship. The way he gave it to me, I woke up early one morning, and he gave me the Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, it just, I don't know, that's what came to me. So I started looking it up. I heard the word no titles, no agendas, just worship. And I'm like, what do these things have to do with each other? So as I started to read on the Alcoholics Anonymous, it was stating when you're an alcoholic, it doesn't matter who you are, what profession you are, lawyer, judge, doctor, whatever it is. Number one, you have a need. Number two, you have a problem. And number three, you have to work out a solution to your problem. So I was just reading on the different testimonials of all these different types of people, again, from all different types of backgrounds and professions and all that good stuff. And, the cries of these people. So then he took me to one of my favorite scriptures that we've all heard before, to John 4:20, or around that 23rd verse, when Jesus is saying to the woman at the well, the hour comes, and now is when true worshipers worship the Father in spirit and in truth. And I'm like, okay, this still not making sense to me. I just think he wanted me to connect the dots. So as I just begin to read that scripture and meditate on it, one thing that I began to realize that I have been taught my whole life was, and you may have heard this before, was everybody cannot worship, only those who have relationship with him. And I said, okay. And I'm reading this scripture, and the Lord, I'm not going to say the Lord, but what was highlighted to me in this scripture was the woman at the well had no relationship with Jesus. The woman at the well was nameless, but Jesus was telling her what the prerequisites were to worship. And she went back and shared it with other people that may or may not have had a relationship with him. So when it all came together finally, the Lord was saying to me, I want the body of Christ, I want my people to get back to a place where it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your position. It doesn't matter your title. I'm calling you back to a place of worship. So again, let's stop for a minute. So another scripture in the Bible, and this is just for people that and I am not saying, let me be clear, I am not saying that you should not have relationship with Jesus. What I am saying, we have to stop discouraging people because we think the pastor can worship, but the first person coming back into church can't. Here's the thing, God is not looking for perfect people. God is looking for honest people. So another text in Mark in the Bible, there was a demon-possessed man in the mountains, and Jesus was getting off the boat, and the demon-possessed man came to Jesus, realizing who he was, and he fell and worshiped him. After he worshiped, that's when Jesus rebuked the spirits out of him. So again, this demon-possessed man did not have relationship with Jesus. However, he recognized in the presence of greatness that there was someone greater than him. So no titles, no agendas, just worship is when you recognize that there is someone greater, there's someone more sovereign, there's someone more holy, there's someone more righteous. You can lay aside all the other stuff, the seat, the agenda, I want to carry this person back because it looked good, all that, and you can worship Jesus. I don't know about anybody else, but I got tired of going to church, and it was more about raising an offering. or, or whatever it is. But I just got to a place where I just had such a hunger for God that that was the only reason that I was going to church. So that's where it was.
Got you. So, I mean, for you, what do you feel like, or what have you come to understand, even in terms of significance about, why AA was the way? Because, that entry point of where God, higher power, your faith will bring you into alignment. Like that entry point is always, I think, very interesting to learn about, depending on the person and upon like their trajectory or their path. Was there anything that for you it resonated with, like being able to come into that alignment, being able to come into, that understanding of no title, no agendas, just worship, by examining or using AA as the lens?
The only thing that I can say is what maybe tied it all together for me was, number one, well, let me just say this. My mom has been a drug and alcohol counselor for 20 plus years. But the thing that pulled it for me was, again, the biggest thing to me that I guess connected the scripture, AA, and the theme was the simple fact that it does not matter who you are. When you have other things distracting you or attached to you, alcohol, all that thing, you have to find your way back to a place that you can be helped. And that's with a counselor, with a group of other people that are similar to you. And it does not matter who you are. So my thing was, all of us have things that can prevent us from reaching our purpose, reaching our destiny, reaching the designated place that God has for us. But when we all gather together, there is one need, and that is for us to be better, to become better. And that is in the presence of the Lord. That is through worship. Worship reveals who God is, and it exposes what we are not. So when we're in his presence, it's like, God, okay, take this out of me. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. There is someone, and it does not matter who you are. It does not matter how many degrees you have. It does not matter what theological school you went to. All that matters is there's a need, and the solver or the meter of that need is accessible.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And when talking about, that need, I'm sure there are many folks out there who feel like there's a need for this new album that you dropped last Tuesday. So I want to talk a bit about that. I know we're winding down on time, but can you tell us, number one, of course, the title, but two, just kind of give us the concept of this new album. It dropped last Tuesday, and why now? What about it made you know and affirm in your spirit this is the time?
So the name of the album is Sentiments of My Heart, and that's exactly what it is. It's just pieces of songs that the Lord has given me that I just wanted to share. So let me just say this. In December of 2016, I did a live recording. Two of the songs from the live recording I had released in 2016 and 2017. And then I kind of just put it on hold for many reasons. Life happened, okay? So, but what I really do believe, I don't believe I was supposed to release it those other times. I believe now was when I was supposed to release it. But Sentiments of My Heart, let me say this too. I've never considered myself much of a writer, but the Lord gave me, over the last few years, so many songs to write. Many of them come to me like during moments where I'm ministering prophetically and different things like that. But Sentiments of My Heart is just, I would call it, this is what I've been saying, it's like a diary for me. Things that, I share in my private devotion with God, or he shares with me, that I wrote on paper and I just wanted to share with other people. So am I necessarily looking to be famous off the album? It would be a blessing. However, I just wanted to let people in on you know, what people see me do publicly is not just what I get up to do publicly. It's what I experience privately. It's you know, the relationship I have with Jesus. From Jesus is the one to there is a sound of worship, and you know, I just wanted to share that with the people.
That one, there is a sound. I noticed that is the longest track on the album.
Because that's a track right there.
I noticed. I said, okay, this is the longest one on the album. And with that being the case, I want to kind of, with the few minutes we have left, kind of zero in a bit on There Is a Sound, and what this track meant to you, what you hope it means to others, and what you were, you know, how the Spirit was using you in that moment. Like now in reflection on the other side, it's been recorded, it's put out there. You know, when you take a moment and you look back and you're like, oh, that's what you did. Oh, okay, I hear it now, or I feel it now. It's different, you know, when you're in the Spirit and you're being used versus when you come out of that moment and you get to kind of take it in and reflect on it. I want to talk a little bit about There Is a Sound.
So yes, it's the longest track. I think we did that by accident. However,
the best things, I'm telling you, the best things, they be accidents.
So the way that, first of all, There Is a Sound, what it means to me is that we constantly remain in a place of worship, releasing worship to him. And that is, again, our lives, our song, whatever it is, because worship is not specifically related to a slow song. I know that's what we kind of, you know, connected to, but it's everything. Worship, you know, worship is worship. You know, it's greater than we are. So it's just something that I constantly want to do. I want to release the sound to him, and I hope that it touches the other people the same way it touched me. So the way Release the Sound came about, though, was in December of 2019, a church called me. They were doing something called Worship Day, and they wanted me to come. They did not want me to preach, but what they wanted was prophetic worship, prophetic impartation. Number one, I always kind of move away from that stuff because, you know, the prophetic is a whole whatever. So I'm up, I'm ministering. The way the Lord deals with me in many cases, in terms of prophetic, he will give me songs to minister to people. So I'm ministering to people about, you know, and I'll sing them, you know, whatever. There's a moment that we were worshiping and the melody came to me, and I'm gonna keep this story short. The melody came to me. So I went over to the musicians and I started to hum what I wanted them to play. And I said, I need y'all to play this. So they started to play it, and I started to just sing the words out while we were standing there. And in that moment, There Is a Sound. That's also why it means so much to me, because that's the first time it came to me like that.
It was a sound.
So we began to worship. Yes, and they're literally, like when I tell you, the atmosphere shifted, and it was just an amazing experience. So after that, even at that time, I don't think it meant as much to me until fast forward to my conference of this year in February. I was like, you know what? Let's sing this song. So I taught it to the band, taught it to the singers, and we sung it on one of the sessions. And the same, I mean, a greater experience, but the same thing that happened at that church in Brooklyn in December happened in a greater way at the conference hotel. And it was amazing. And I just was like, oh, we have to do something with this.
And here we have something.
Exactly. And, you know, during the pandemic, like I said, I lost my dad April 4th, but my friend who had my hard drive and all, he was like, let's get your music out. This was like around April or May. And I was like, I didn't feel like doing nothing. Like I was literally checked out for a while. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. And it just began to develop. And I just felt God heal me through my music as we were in the studio and different things. And it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing to me, and I really pray that it's a blessing to everyone else.
Well, listen, definitely hoping and praying for the same, when we're talking about sentiments of the heart, and especially just even learning more about your journey just in 2020 alone. I think it adds that much more to even the title of this body of work, right? Sentiments of my heart. It's coming from the heart, prayerfully and hopefully and expectedly purified in such a way in spirit and in truth that others can receive it in just that way. So for folks who do want to check out Sentiments of My Heart, again, I'm chatting with James Lamb, or who want to learn more about your nonprofit organizations, that being Loves, for example, J.D. Lamb Ministries. I mean, what's the best way for folks to check out either or both?
You can find me on Facebook under James Lamb. You can follow my ministry page, J.D. Lamb Ministries. I'm on Instagram, J_Lamb, I. Everybody says J Lambie, so J Lambie. Or you can email us, jdlambministries@gmail.com. I hope you all got that. James Lamb, J.D. Lamb Ministries, J Lambie, or jdlambministries@gmail.com. And I would look forward to hearing from you. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'll follow you back. So follow me if you can.
All right, there we have it. That's James Lamb, JamesLamb. Okay, like now behold the Lamb. But now you just need to listen to the Lamb, Mr. Lamb, James Lamb. Okay, there you got it. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back on the other side, and of course, much thanks to James Lamb for joining us for that great conversation. When we come back on the other side, we're diving into a question. Is the U.S., right, are our struggles, I should say, with racism truly a white supremacy issue, our class issue? There's so much that we're dealing with, and it's time to get into some sentiments of the heart in that regard. WURD President and CEO Sarah Lomax Reese will join us for a Black Words book club conversation about the highly acclaimed book, which I actually have a copy of in studio today, Cast: The Origins of Our Discontents. It's written by Isabel Wilkerson, who many of you may be familiar with. She also wrote The Warmth of Other Suns. Shout out to Taib Smith. I believe he recommended that book before when he joined us for Happy Hour, and I've heard it multiple times. Like folks speak to how powerful that book is. And so now I have Cast, and I get to experience Isabel Wilkerson. And if you have not, go out, cop that, so that you can participate in this book club with us. But in the meantime, in between time, you can still get into this conversation and take away much, much, much from it. So stay tuned, taking this break. Happy Hour on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. I'm your host, sincerely, Sarita. We'll be back after these messages.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
This program is pre-recorded.
No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. WURDradio.com.
According to the radical left, Kathy Barnett isn't supposed to exist, let alone be a candidate for United States Congress. See, Kathy Barnett is a black woman and a conservative. She spent 10 years in the Armed Forces Reserves. Kathy doesn't fit the victimhood mentality the left is selling. She grew up poor, and despite the odds against her, she built a good life. She loves America, and that's why she's running for Congress. Kathy Barnett not only exists, she lives the American dream.
I'm Kathy Barnett, and I approve this message.
Man, this coronavirus has us all moving differently.
No doubt. Like washing our hands more and social distancing with the crew. I'm always telling people to give me 6 feet. We're here, Grandma.
There's my babies. Good to see you got your mask on.
Wear mask. Stop the spread. For more information, visit www.pa.gov/COVID.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to WURD Radio.
Independent Black Media.
To African Americans, what do you have to lose?
More than we could have ever imagined. Trump's policies make black people less safe, and his downplaying of coronavirus cost black lives. It's time to elect someone who cares about us. Joe Biden. Joe will fight racism and injustice everywhere. He'll expand Obamacare and rebuild our economy so it works for all of us. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it.
Paid for by Ask Me People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AskMePeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America. The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager. And Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home.
In the happy hour
with Sincerely Sarita.
Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m.
Right here
on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. For testing hours and more information, call 1-833-533-3463.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. If your heating and cooling system is more than 20 years old, it may be time for your contractor to replace it with a high-efficiency Energy Star certified model. You'll get a rebate from Pico and save on your monthly electric bill. You'll find a list of new heating and cooling system rebates at pico.com/rebates. Or you can call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE for all the details. Plus, find instant discounts on smart thermostats and more at pico.com/marketplace. There's free shipping on orders over $49.
Smith Play John is a new kids TV show produced by Smith Memorial Playground. Tune in Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Comcast, Verizon, or PhillyCam.org for at-home play breaks, music time, story time, and to share your John. Details at smithplayground.org.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Home of the Happy Hour. With Sincerely Sarita. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live at WURDradio.com and on the WURD Radio app.
And we are back. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. This is Happy Hour on WURD Radio. It's Talent Tuesday. It's Thankful Tuesday. And I have to say, I am very thankful for the conversation that we are about to get into. But before we get into that, right, I want to make sure you know you are invited to join us this Monday, October 12th, for a special day-long EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit in recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day. We will explore topics at the intersection of Black and Indigenous rights, income, and the environment. This is a day-long multimedia virtual event. It's going to feature Majora Carter, Radmila Cody, Sherelle Barber, Maurice Sampson from the Source Reporting Collaborative, the Oro family, and other activists, artists, and thought leaders. I also want to remind you to not miss this special opportunity to join or renew your WURD membership today, or in between, right, up until and beyond Monday the 12th, so that you can receive your free copy of this month's Black Words Book Club selection. And that's a hashtag on that, y'all. Black Words. That's WURDS. Y'all know how we do about here. And so that copy of this month's Black Words Book Club selection is A Terrible Thing to Waste, Environmental Racism and Its Assault on the American Mind by Harriet A. Washington. So you can join or renew your WURD membership today at WURDradio.com/forward. Again, that's WURDradio.com/FORWURD. Okay. And current members, you can pick up a copy of your book at Harriet's Bookshop. And speaking of Harriet's Bookshop, this conversation that we're about to get into, right? I'm sure many of you may have heard of this book, Cast, The Origins of Our Discontents. It's by Isabel Wilkerson. This was a 2020 selection for Oprah's Book Club. It's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Isabel is also the author of The Warmth of Other Suns. And, of course, we've got to salute and welcome President and CEO of WURD, Sarah Lomax Reese, because we're about to get into this discussion and really examining, specifically here in the U.S., but looking at the global community, right? Looking at the bigger picture of America's struggle with racism and whether this is truly a white supremacy issue, or are there some other layers that we can kind of dive into, and that being more of a class issue. And so I want to, of course, welcome Sarah Lomax Reese. We have some other special guests joining us, and she's going to introduce them because she was very mindful and thinking about all of the voices and perspectives that would be joining us for this discussion. And I'm certainly thankful for them. And without further ado, Miss Lomax Reese, hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for joining us for Happy Hour. And where do you want to, let's jump in. I think, okay, so just so we know, y'all, FYI. Yeah, I know. FYI.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute.
We have a few things because, we're multimedia around here, y'all, right? So if you're tuned in over on WURD TV, definitely, give us some likes, give us some loves, let us know you're tuned in. I'm going to drop the link to the book so that if you don't have it, you know where you can get it at, or at least can do your own research and figure out where, you can go and cop that. But I would definitely suggest heading to Harriet's Bookshop right here in Philly. But in addition to that, go ahead, share the live stream, make sure folks are present and joining you for Happy Hour for this conversation, right? So folks over on WURD TV and our live stream, you can see all of the folks that are about to get into this conversation. For those who are joined in on 96.1 FM, 900 AM, the free WURD app, just listen in closely, turn us up, and let's get into this. So without further ado, yes, Sarah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Hi, Sarita. Hi, Kayla. It's great to be here to kick off the inaugural Black Words Book Club conversation. This is really something that we wanted to curate for our WURD members and really try and cultivate a book club and a reading club to engage our members and the broader WURD community. And so the first book that we selected was Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent, as you mentioned. And it is a very dynamic and deep dive into looking way beyond this issue of race and racism, and putting it into a global context to look at what Isabel Wilkerson, the author of the book, frames as a caste system, and really equating the plight of African Americans in America with other global caste experiences, both in India and South Asia and Nazi Germany. And so she uses these three examples to kind of really paint a very vibrant picture of kind of white supremacy and the deepest roots of inequality that are built into different systems. And so we have a wonderful group of folks assembled to kind of kick off this conversation and do a bit of a deep dive into caste. We have Manu Bhagavan, who is a specialist on modern India, focusing on the 20th century, late colonial and post-colonial periods, with particular interest in human rights, internationalism, and questions of sovereignty. And he's a professor of history, human rights, and public policy at Hunter College and the Graduate Center, the City University of New York, and he's a senior fellow at the Ralph Bunche Institute for International Studies. So I want to welcome Manu Bhagavan.
Yeah.
And we also have Carl Singley, who many people in Philadelphia know. He is a retired law professor from Temple University. He was there from 1974 to 2004, and he retired as a professor emeritus. He served as dean of the school from 1983 to 1987. And at that time, he was the first African-American, the first Temple graduate, and the youngest dean in the history of the university. And he is doing some dynamic things around the city. He describes himself as an amateur historian. So, and we were talking before this and about caste. And so I tapped him to be a part of our inaugural book club. So welcome, Carl. All right, and then we also have, so I guess you guys can come off mute. I know I said everybody should be on mute, but it is kind of a strange kind of dynamic when you're not. And then of course, as you mentioned, Sarita, we have Janine Cook, who is the founder and owner of Harriet's Bookshop, right around the corner from the WURD studios. So this is an amazing group of folks. And Sarita, I don't know if we have a clip of Isabel Wilkerson to play at the top of this.
I believe so. And as we get that queued up, let me just ask this, because I think it's important, even when I was calling around, right? Because just FYI, this book is pretty in hot demand to you all. I mean, that's what happens when it's on Oprah's book club. Even folks were trying to, like, I had to spell out the name of the book and having conversations about this, make sure folks understood a caste system. So just really briefly, can we just touch on and clarify for folks what a caste system is, and then we'll go into this clip.
I think I'm going to ask Manu Bhagavan if you will give us that definition. That would be fantastic.
Sure. Well, first of all, good evening to everyone on the radio and watching this, and thank you so much, Sarah, Ms. Lomax-Reese, for inviting me. And Cyrena for hosting, and to my fellow panelists. So caste in a nutshell is a kind of rigidified, it generally is a term that refers to a rigidified system of hierarchy that through which discrimination is practiced against people on the lower ends of this hierarchy by people on the higher ends of this hierarchy. That's the sort of simplest way I can describe it. And then there's a history to the term specific to European colonial encounters with India, but I can get into that later.
Gotcha. All right, I just kind of wanted to put some context around that. And I think with that said, we're ready to get into this clip. So let's take a listen.
Obviously about the out-migration of 6 million African Americans from the Jim Crow South to all points, North, Midwest, and West. I had to look into what was the history that we often don't learn, that many people might not have known. And so in doing so, I had to figure out what was the term I was going to be using. And I don't use the word racism in that book. A lot of people may assume that I did because many people talk about it in that way, but I don't use the term. The term that I used to describe what the people were experiencing, wherever they might have been in the South, whatever their background might have been, was a caste system. And a caste system is an artificial hierarchy, an artificial arbitrary graded ranking of human value in a society. And the more that I spent time looking at what was it like to actually live in the Jim Crow South during the years of Jim Crow, which is from basically toward the end of the 19th century and into the 1960s, I came away with the view that caste was the most comprehensive term to describe a world in which it was actually against the law for a Black person and a white person to merely play checkers together in Birmingham. It was a world in which the very word of God, the Bible, was segregated in courtrooms throughout the South. I mean, that means that the same sacred object could not be touched by hands of different races. And when you look at caste, the originating caste system in India, and you look at other caste systems, you find that the idea of purity and pollution and keeping people separate and controlling and surveilling the boundaries to keep the people separate were some hallmarks of caste, and many of the things that I found about what life was like in the Jim Crow South fit that term, and that's what led to this book.
And so that's Isabel Wilkerson, and she's given some context, right, with her book that I think many may be more familiar with, which is The Warmth of Other Suns, and talking about this current book, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. And so that is available on YouTube. If you want to go ahead and check out that full interview, please do. It's very insightful. But I do want to let you all know the phone lines are open. So if you've read Caste, if you have some thoughts on how, especially and specifically for those who are members of the Black community, how this may have resonated with you, please do call in. The hotline number is 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. You can also call in toll free, 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. But Janine, Carl, Manu, Sarah, curious to get all of your takes, and knowing I know we have to do all of this in a kind of more condensed time, but your takes, just kind of big picture from this book, the relevancy of it specifically now, not just with America being at what many feel is a very pivotal point, but really the world being in a very pivotal point and where we go from here. And so, yeah, please, let's kind of, and I'm looking at the Zoom screen, so I'm going to try to go, let's start with Janine, and then we'll go to Carl, and then Manu and Sarah.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you to my whole WURD family. I want folks to know that in addition to doing this book club with us, the WURD family has supported Harriet's in a bunch of ways, whether that's just like coming by and making sure we're okay in here, being a stand for us. And so it's beautiful to keep this relationship going, and having this level of sisterhood means a lot to me. But I do want to, just about caste, I like that you started with the word caste. And I heard Isabel say, and I call her Isabel like she's my homie friend. I'm like, Izzy, girl, you got this. I mean, and I'm like, I've never met this woman, but I feel close to her through her writing. But she talks about the word caste also in its other context. So thinking about a cast and how it's used on a broken bone to kind of put something back in its place or hold something in its place. And then she talks about cast in theater, thinking about a script and thinking about players and actors using and being a part of a cast to keep the script on on schedule or in the right direction. And what I like about thinking about that word in all of those different contexts is it helps somebody else who's new to the book to understand that it is about like keeping people in a place, right? Keeping people bound to a mental space and sometimes even a geographical space. And I think hopefully that's helpful to other folks who are new to the book.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. And Carl?
Well, you know, I'm a child of the South. I grew up during the civil rights movement in the South. And for several years, I've been looking at race, racism, and American law sort of as an avocation. Mm. And so that what was really interesting for me with the book is it allowed me to view events in a very different way through a different lens. Not only historical events dating back to 1619, but all the way up to this sort of inflection point that we are at in the country right now. Mm-hmm. And it was a good way to kind of frame and look at and not reinterpret, but see how these events interact and the global dimensions, and see that a lot of historical parallels that we look at are now playing out today, but they're playing out, as someone suggested, globally. So I did like the book. It was a challenge. You know, you can look at it in 3 formats. You could have looked at it as an audio book. I have no way of understanding how you could possibly appreciate it as an audio book. Mm. I bought it as a Kindle. I apologize, Janine, but a digital book, because you really, but you really need to have that book in hard copy.
Yes.
It is overwhelming. It is daunting. There's a lot of stuff in it, and you really need the hard copy of the book, because you need to go back and it really is a real challenge, but it really helped me to look at things through a different frame or a different lens, and was very helpful.
I appreciate, you know, I'm Temple U alum, so you know, I'm not going to say I have favorites here at all, but you know, TU. But Manu, your thoughts on the book and you know, just the relevancy of timing and how it plays a part for you.
Well, I'd say that you know, Isabel Wilkerson's last book, as you mentioned, is The Warmth of Other Suns. To me, this book, despite its title as Cass, is really the searing heat of 1,000 suns. Mm. You know, I mean, it is so, it penetrates the reader, and it burns their brain with incredibly vivid imagery of both the kind of personal impact of what she describes as this caste system on herself and on communities that she herself interacts with. So it's a very personal narrative. Mm-hmm. And it is, it has this global scope with this long duration of history as well. And it's those things in combination, which is what I think makes it great, makes it something which transcends. It's local and it's global at the same moment. And it's very personal, just as it's sort of speaking to so many different kinds of people, so many different kinds of communities at a broad kind of group and almost statistical level as well. So those are my sort of immediate thoughts. And I think the book is really unique and important, and I'm glad to be part of this discussion.
Yeah, and we're appreciative to all of you for that. And Sarah, your thoughts on this body of work.
Yeah, so I was the one who picked this book, so a little biased. And I think that Isabel Wilkerson is an amazing writer. You know, just she is a beautiful writer, and she is not necessarily a academic or a historian, but she phrases and frames information in a way that is very accessible and digestible, but at the same time, I think very comprehensive and well researched. The thing that really resonated with me was the actual framing, and I agree with Janine. The way that she used the word caste in these different contexts was really creative and compelling. But I also loved the fact that she was taking an issue like systemic racism that we as Black people wrestle with and have for 400 years, and she reframed it in a way that is very global. And I thought the way she equated it to Nazi Germany, in addition to the caste system in India, but the way she articulated how Nazi Germany looked at, as they were preparing their, their systems of oppressing and trying to eradicate the Jewish population, they looked at America. They looked at the racist laws and policies and social constructs of America to kind of replicate their systems. And they didn't even go as far as some of the things that America has done. And so, there's all of this fixation on the Holocaust and Nazi Germany as this, this horrific situation, which it was, but they got their playbook from America and the racist system and the oppression of Black people and the comprehensive approach. And so that was something that I had never read before and I wasn't aware of. And so I just thought the way that she kind of put the different pieces together and really painted a new picture in some ways around information that is very old.
Yeah. So we have to take a quick break. But just in hearing all of you just kind of reflect, at least, high level on this book and its relevancy, what's resonating in my soul in this moment is just the power of the gaze and the direction that it's being cast in, for no pun intended. But just whether it's government, whether it's people, whether it's an ethnicity, whatever it may be, just where you're looking, what direction you're looking in and what you're looking to get out of that, right? That exchange of gazes and whether it's over time, whether it's over geographical positioning, whatever it may be, just the power of that gaze and what it ultimately produces when we're talking about action, right? So we're going to take this quick break, but Loves, the phone lines are open. Definitely want to hear from you. When we're thinking about this kind of big picture question that I laid out early on, specifically when thinking about the U.S. and our struggles with racism, do you view it truly as a white supremacy issue, or is it more of a class issue that white supremacy kind of was able to co-opt or to kind of get deeply rooted in and take to another level? We're going to continue this, but when we come back on the other side, there's an excerpt that I want to read that when I took it in, it really just, it was this tie between the present and the past, and I definitely want to hear from our panelists about this, but definitely call in 215-634-8065. Again, 215-634-8065. You can also call in toll free 866-361-0900. Again, 866-361-0900. Shout out to all of our onWURD members, those who are a part of our book club, right? The hashtag Black Words, that's WURD, Black Words Book Club. This conversation is about the highly acclaimed book, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. It's written by Isabel Wilkerson, and you're tuned in to Happy Hour on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. We'll be back after these messages.
Trump spends his time golfing, while COVID-19 hits the Black community hard. It's not just wrong, it's immoral. We need Joe Biden. Joe takes COVID-19 seriously and understands the economic and health impact it's had on our community. Joe will listen to the medical experts, and he will protect Obamacare. Trump, he won't even wear a mask. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by Ask Me People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AskMePeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
It's easier than ever to get the right health coverage for families of all sizes.
This is Bonnie, Ronnie, Tani, Johnny.
Penny gets you covered. millennials, gig workers, virtual birthday partiers.
Grandma, you're on mute.
Penny gets you all covered. Penny helps you compare plans, get financial assistance, and purchase health insurance that fits your life. Get covered at PENNIE.com.
New Voices for Reproductive Justice is registering Black women and their families in Philly to vote. The general election is on November 3rd. You can register to vote online at rock.vote/New Voices. That's rock.vote/New Voices. The deadline to register is October 19th. If you need assistance registering to vote, visit newvoicesrj.org.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
We've all adjusted our daily routines in these unprecedented times. And for many of us, voting at our polling place in November is a routine that means so much. But did you know that every Pennsylvania voter can vote by mail from home this year? Whether you're a Pennsylvania senior, essential worker, or simply someone who needs more flexibility to vote within a challenging schedule, voting by mail allows you to make your voice heard at the ballot box on your schedule while protecting your family's health. You can turn your mailbox into a ballot box by simply visiting votespa.com on your computer or any mobile device to request your mail-in ballot. With November 3rd around the corner, it's more important than ever to request your mail-in ballot today. It's simple, secure, convenient, and safe. This year, you shouldn't have to choose between your vote and your health. We're all in this together, and voting by mail gives you the power to make your voice heard. So sign up at votespa.com or return your mail-in ballot application to your county election office today. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
The time is now to put an end to the chronic incompetence of Donald Trump and his League of Liars. Donald Trump makes a mockery of the institution of the presidency. He's polarized our country, and his dangerous policies must not continue. Joe Biden has the character, empathy, and experience to lead us through these challenging times. He helped lead the nation out of the 2008 financial crisis into the longest period of economic growth in our history, and he can do it again. As president, he will heal divisions and unite us around the shared values of justice. He'll create opportunities for quality education and good-paying jobs, and he'll build on the Affordable Care Act, not tear it down. While Donald Trump thinks coronavirus and climate change are a hoax, Joe Biden already has a coronavirus recovery plan and a strategy to create more jobs while also tackling the climate crisis. Vote for a president who will stand on the right side of history. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by Black PAC and Priorities USA Action. BlackPAC.com and PrioritiesUSAAction.org, which are responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And we're back. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita, with a special segment dedicated to Black Words. That's a hashtag, y'all. Black WURD. Black Words Book Club Conversation. We are focusing on Cast, the Origins of Our Discontents. It's written by Isabel Wilkerson. Many of you may be familiar with her by way of her previous book, The Warmth of Other Suns. And so getting back into this conversation with President and CEO of WURD, Sarah Lomax Reese. We're joined by Janine Cook of Harriet's Bookshop, Manu Bhagavan, who is a professor of history, human rights, and public policy at Hunter College and the Graduate Center, as well as Carson Lee, an attorney who specializes in civil and constitutional rights litigation. He's TU fam. He's made history in that way and beyond. I want to toss this to Sarah, but really quickly, I know here at Happy Hour we've been talking talking a lot about voting and more specifically about the census and the importance of being counted. And you know, just diving into this book a bit, there's an excerpt that I want to share and get your thoughts on just any level of connection that you feel may be relevant to what Isabel was sharing and where we're at right now with, you know, even the census situation and voting, right? And so the excerpt says this: in the decades to follow, colonial laws herded European workers and African workers into separate and unequal queues and set in motion the caste system that would become the cornerstone of the social, political, and economic system in America. This caste system would trigger the deadliest war on U.S. soil, lead to the ritual killings of thousands of subordinate caste people and lynchings, and become the source of inequalities that becloud and destabilize the country to this day. With the first rough attempts at a colonial census conducted in Virginia in 1630, a hierarchy began to form. Few Africans were seen as significant enough to be listed in the census by name, as would be the case for the generations to follow, in contrast to the majority of European inhabitants, indentured or not. The Africans were not cited by age or arrival date, as were the Europeans. Information vital to setting the terms and time frame of indentured for Europeans or for Africans, had they been in the same category, been seen as equal or seen as needing to be accurately accounted for. You know, Sarah, even when I'm thinking about how many elected officials and WURD family we've had, you know, hit the airwaves and really stress the importance of being accounted for. This excerpt for you, I mean, does this speak to you in any way, especially as, you know, the leader of a media platform right now for the Black community in a time where being accounted for, some might say, matters now more than ever?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the beauty of this book, is that it is, it's talking about our history, but it is also really very contemporary. It's talking about the rise of a strongman like Hitler and what the ingredients were, and it sounds very much like the ingredients that we are living within right now in terms of the social and political environment that's bubbling up, that elevated someone like a strongman like Donald Trump. So yeah, I think that there is a lot to be said about the census, about voting, and really empowering ourselves to act on our history and this information to stand up and be counted, and to really be very present around making change, so that what has come before doesn't continue in the future. I also wanted to, you know, one of the things about this book, and I appreciate you reading that excerpt, Sarita, because it covers a lot of ground. It covers, caste covers a lot of ground. And one of the things, and I want to toss this to you, Manu, is as I was reading the book, I was really curious as to how the framing that she made in the comparisons between African Americans as kind of the untouchable class or caste was analogous or similar to the untouchable caste in India. And I was curious as I was reading it how that rang true, or if it rang true to Indian people and South Asian people, and do they see this kind of connection, or is that how are people reading it from that culture?
Right. So I think there's a couple of points here. First, the Indian caste system is a bit complicated. The term caste comes from a Portuguese word, casta, and it's used to refer to sort of two different but interrelated systems. One is this thing which is based on color, the Varna system, which is the classic system that most people know, divided between like priests and warriors and so on, and the people we call Dalits, the oppressed, the ground to pieces, formerly known as untouchables are the outcasts on that system. And then interwoven in that are people's occupations. And so historically, there could be a lot of ferment in these how this played out in particular areas and so on. But overall, this was a dramatic system of oppression. There have historically been connections between African American race justice movements in the United States and the Indian independence movement overall, and sort of caste freedom movements in India as well. So in the context of these kinds of conversations, where, for example, not just Martin Luther King, who's talked about in the book, but Pauli Murray or Mary McLeod Bethune, or Walter White at the NAACP, or W.E.B. Du Bois, all of these prominent figures sort of looked to what was happening in India and looked at various kinds of issues there and drew inspiration for what they needed to do here, but also information. And this went the other way as well. People in India looked to the African American movement here, and the kinds of things that Du Bois was saying drew inspiration and information, and move forward. One of the so to answer your question, Sarah, initially people were hesitant to sort of draw connections between ideas of race and caste, and indeed these are different kinds of concepts. But what this book does, and what the most recent investigations have sort of come to the conclusion, is that indeed it is very worthwhile to draw parallels between race and caste as interrelated systems of oppression, and that racism and casteism structure, they both feed off of one another and attempts to structure societies in very rigid ways, while allowing the people at the very top to skim benefits and to benefit from the system as a whole at the expense of everyone on the bottom, and particularly those at the most bottom.
Yeah, I think, I mean, one of the things that was really powerful to me in the book is that it really wasn't about racism and class, you know, that this notion of caste was much more rigid and fixed and all-consuming and comprehensive. But I did want to ask, and I'll throw this to you, Carl Singley and Janine Cook, like, are there things that you didn't like about the book? You know, are there things that there have been criticism, there have been critiques about the book? And I'll ask you, Carl, if you have a critique.
First, let me say that there's actually some good news in the book. And she describes caste as being the bones and race as being the skin. The way I see it, race is really a proxy for caste. So what is enduring and seems to matter more across time and across locations is really this notion of hierarchy and caste. So the good news for contemporary purposes is that Donald Trump is going to lose. He's going to lose not because Black lives matter, but because he has demonstrated that white lives don't matter. So that a lot of people who don't care anything about Black people have concluded that the structure that they have gotten accustomed to, this caste system, this hierarchy, is being jeopardized because the people who have wealth and influence can't make money. Airlines are closing, amusement parks are closing, and they can maintain caste, by the way, with Joe Biden. It's not a choice between having the caste system intact and not having it. In fact, Joe Biden will maintain the caste system just like Barack Obama did. So the good news is Black people are 13% of the population. We're going to vote. We're going to do what we always did. But the reason that Trump is going to lose is because he is now an inconvenience, and he is a problem for people who want to maintain the caste system. I know you didn't ask me that, but briefly, it's too much book. What I liked about The Warmth of Other Suns, they told this historical issue and described it through personal stories, and you were able, that were interwoven. This book comes at it from 10 different perspectives. She's a journalist, it's a personal memoir, it's a historical account, it's a contemporary evaluation of events. And I know it probably wouldn't make sense in this day and age to come out with multi-volumes of anything. I'm not suggesting that she would cut out anything, but it really is a daunting challenge with a lot of different subject matters that are relatively complex. So I would have probably advised her to do 2 volumes, but that way it wouldn't have been chosen by Oprah.
Yeah, what I was saying when we spoke a little bit ago is that one of the things that I noticed about her is that she really commits herself to time, right? And so there was a 10-year period between this and her last book, and she really put time into this volume. And so that's perhaps why the breadth and depth. And so one of the things I've been suggesting to other book clubs is that they consider, you know, breaking it down and not feeling like you got to use just one session together. So perhaps, you know, she didn't make it into 1 volume, but into a series, but we can in our discussions of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So I know we're getting pretty short on time. And I want to just be mindful of that, because as you all spoke to, there is a lot in this book. Like, if you have not read Cass, I need you to make sure when you do get into it, you really carve out some time and space to just be present and to really be able to dive in and find the flow of it for yourself. But I do want to jump to how she closes out this book and get your perspectives on that. And I'm going to read a bit directly from the book here because I am a freelance journalist myself, and I want to make sure I get this right and not necessarily interpret words that she so clearly wrote. And so she says, writes, "In a world without caste, instead of a false swagger over our own tribe, our family, or ascribed community, we would look upon all of humanity with wonderment. The lithe beauty of an Ethiopian runner, the bravery of a Swedish girl determined to save the planet, the physics-defying aerobatics of an African-American Olympian, the brilliance of a composer of Puerto Rican descent who can rap the history of the founding of America at 144 words a minute. All of these feats should fill us with astonishment at what the species is capable of, and gratitude to be alive for this. In a world without caste, being male or female, light or dark, immigrant or native born, would have no bearing on what anyone was perceived as being capable of. In a world without caste, we would all be invested in the well-being of others and our species, if only for our own survival, and recognize that we are in need of one another more than we have been led to believe. We would join forces with indigenous people around the world, raising the alarm as fires rage and glaciers melt. We would see that when others suffer, the collective human body is set back from the progression of our species. A world without caste would set everyone free." My question to you, to each of you, is, do you believe that's true? Is this some utopian hope? Or do you believe that there is some real, tangible, concrete offering that she lays out as she closes out this book? And we can start with Sarah. And we'll go
Don't start with me.
Okay, don't start with Sarah. Okay.
Don't start with me.
Okay, so we're going to go backwards based on who my eyes are falling on. So Manu, let's go with you, and we'll go back around. Manu, Carl, and then Janine.
I think it's a nice aspirational dream. I think the point of the book is that there's a long way to go. And the first thing to address, the book is about Nazi Germany and India as context. Its focus is on the Black experience in the United States, and then thinking about it in a global context, to think about systemic, the systemic ways in which racism, classism, colorism, and structural forms of oppression overall perpetuate themselves. In the context of the Black experience, my takeaway from the book is we must really address the lack of Black capital and Black investment, and the way not just the lack of investment, but the ways that anytime capital exists, it isn't allowed to accumulate. It's ripped away time and time and time again. And so the focus has to be not just in investment and in capital buildup, but in protecting these investments and ensuring that they have a capacity to grow in Black communities. So that's my takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl?
Well, they're beautiful words. I mean, reminiscent of King's speech and I Have a Dream and content of character, you know, that aspirational language, but I'm not optimistic. I think ultimately there are too many people that have too much invested in division and the caste structure. And if you look at the history in this country for 400 years, for every step that we make forward to improve and reach those aspirational goals, that ugly head of racism, and I'm going to call it racism, and caste has a way of rearing its head. So I'm not at all optimistic that's likely to happen in any of our lifetimes.
Appreciate the honesty. And Janine?
Yeah, and I'm probably the exact opposite of Carl on that.
This is why we love this.
I mean, and this is what book clubs are for. So for perspective, and I feel you. I think that what's interesting, like you continuing with her metaphor about caste being the bones, is that bones can be broken, and that is a decision. That is a decision that we get to make. And I think that one thing about this era is that we're not spending a lot of time imagining, well, what does it look like to have a system without caste? Like, do we even have an imagination about what that could be? And because we spend a lot of time talking about how awful things are, we don't spend as much time talking about what we can imagine the future looking like. And for me, one of the things that the book really hit home was on this idea of radical empathy and of us really thinking about relationships from the perspective of like, okay, I want to be in values-based relationships. I want to be I want to align with people, not based on what some outside forces told me this is my group, but me making decisions about aligning with people according to our ethical decisions, according to the way that we plan to see things together. And I think right now, I find folks spending time in the same castes, in the same boxes that have been allotted to us, as opposed to thinking beyond those boxes. And so, yeah, I think it's going to get done, and I actually think it's going to get done sooner than we think. And I think it's not going to be, it's not always pretty. Broken bones are not pretty; they often hurt. But some things are going to have to get broken.
Gotcha. And as we get ready to close out, who better to do so than Sarah Lomax Reese herself? Your final thoughts, not only on that particular excerpt, but just also this book and the Black Words Book Club that we have going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and I'm glad I'm going last, only because I feel a resonance with everything that was said. The economic imperative of capitalizing Black business and creating wealth and opportunity in a capitalistic society, that is absolutely fundamental to real liberation. And so I really resonate with that. And I resonate with Carl's lack of optimism. I wrote a piece that's really, wrestling with my frustration with all of the conversations and the convenings and all of the things that are happening right now around diversity and all of this stuff. And I always come back to James Baldwin's quote, "To be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time." And I feel that so powerfully, the anger. And reading this book, Caste, there was a lot in it that just made me rageful and frustrated and just somewhat hopeless. Like just reading the nitty gritty of how barbaric white people have been to Black people in specific over time. And so when you really come up against it, it's hard to swallow. But at the same time, I feel like, Janine, I feel like we have no alternative but to be hopeful, but to keep fighting and and think and imagine and envision and create a world that has not existed but is possible. And if it's not possible, my Lord, it's, you know, what is the reason to get up every day? But the work that we're doing at WURD is a part of creating possibility. It's creating economic empowerment and opportunity by sharing information and creating jobs and doing work with our livelihood initiative, and, you know, just trying to connect the dots with all the things that we're doing, and empowering people with information like this Black Words book club, and trying to really understand how we can learn from our you know, our intellectuals and our academics and lay people and our entire community, so that we can work together to build something new. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm encouraged and frustrated and angry and ready to go.
And hopefully all those who have been able to tune in to this conversation, or should I say this edition of Black Words Book Club conversation, are feeling, you know, the same, and have more than enough perspective to not only take into consideration, if you haven't read the book, you know, to make that decision, but to also think about not only just your reflections on the past and on our, you know, our role in the global community, but also your role in the local community and your ethnic community and whatever else that may be the case. So we do have to get out of here. We're pressed up completely against time, but I want to thank each and every one of our panelists for joining us. Janine Cook, who is the founder and owner of Harriet's Bookshop. She's a writer. She's an educator. She's just dope all around. So make sure you go ahead and support Harriet's Bookshop. We have Manu Bhagavan. And Manu, just please, am I pronouncing your name correctly? I want to confirm.
It's Manu Bhagavan.
Manu. Okay. Manu Bhagavan, who is a professor of history, human rights, and public policy at Hunter College in the Graduate Center. And Manu, my apologies for the mispronunciation. And then we have Carl Singley. And did I pronounce everybody's name right, actually? Let me just double check across the board.
Well, actually, Singley isn't really my name. It was my slave name.
Okay. Well, we go on Carl X. What we doing?
But you pronounced it correctly, though.
Listen, we're gonna get it. If history in America won't get it right, the least we could do here at WRG is we gonna get it right. Okay. But no, thank you to each and every one of you, and of course to WRD President and CEO Sarah Lomax Reese. You know, just for the vision for this conversation, for the book club. So much more to come. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And just a reminder to join us this Monday, October 12th, for a special day-long EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit that is going down in recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day. There are a lot of topics that are going to be explored that are focusing on the intersection of Black and Indigenous rights, income, and the environment. You can head to wordradio.com for more information on that, as well as, you know, the opportunity to start or renew your WURD membership, to learn more about the Black Words book club selection. But in the meantime, in between time, right? Want to thank each and every one of our guests for making today's show possible. And much love and appreciation, of course, to Kayla J for holding down the phone lines, the board, and everything in between. If you haven't already, follow WRD Radio across all platforms at onWURD on Facebook and at onWURD over on Instagram and YouTube. You can check me out on IG and Facebook as well. I'm at Sincerely Sarita. Kayla J is at KALAJ_music nerd. Up next is Tonight on WURD. Stay tuned for that. But until then, remember to taste your words before you feed them to someone else, and always, always, always empathize, empower, and evolve. Peace.